This is a story of a 21st century journey using 20th century infrastructure. An electric vehicle travelling from one end of a country to the other. A country where the charging infrastructure really isn't what it ought to be. From Ynys Môn, Anglesey to Cardiff. Enjoy the ride. The day starts at the W.R. Davis Renault garage in Llandudno Junction, where Ian and the team have kindly agreed to lend me a Renault Zoe, a fully electric car that'll take me from my Ynys Môn constituency to the Welsh capital. After some instructions, I'm on my way. I'm not heading straight to Cardiff though. I've got some work to do in my constituency office first of all. It's only around 25 miles to Llangefni, so I'll just need a quick top up. In the absence of public charging points, well, thankfully events timing company TDL have a plug-in point that I can use. We need charging points like this in every public car park. Well, after a morning in the office, I'm ready to go. So here we are, leaving Llangefni. It says I've got 175 miles of charge. Let's see how accurate that is. It's a journey of around 200 miles. So somewhere between here and Cardiff, I'll need to charge. The problem is there are no fast chargers between here and Cardiff on my usual route. The A487 through Caernarfon and Porthmadog, then the A470 down through Dolgellau to Builth Wells and on to the capital. So I'm planning two diversions from my usual route. One, well, this is just for one of the best views in Wales. The Britannia Bridge is beautiful, but it has to be Telford's Menai Suspension Bridge today. Secondly, though, and a bit more relevant to the task in hand, instead of turning right for Caernarfon, I'm going to hit the A5. The views, well, they're simply stunning, but I'm after power today, not views. I'm afraid that the fast charger isn't in Snowdonia. In fact, it's not in Wales. I'm on my way across the border to Oswestry. Just stopped here at the Moel Siabod Cafe, just this side north of Betws y Coed. Found a little charger here in the car park. It's slow on, a 7 kilowatt charger, so that would take a long time to charge the car. But it's good to know that sort of low level infrastructure is starting to grow, but we need the quick chargers. That's why we're still heading for Oswestry. I'll tell you what, I'm really enjoying driving this car. It's a lovely, lovely car to drive, very smooth. The acceleration's very, very smooth. It's just, there are no gears. It's an automatic car. That makes it nice to drive, of course, but the power's very, very smooth. It's a bit of a game going on as well, actually, because you're trying to squeeze as much as you can out of that battery. It's at 178 miles range at the start. I've done 50 miles odd. There's still 136 miles left, it says. So you're playing a game of trying to charge the battery as you're going downhill, because it does that. It's really clever. But also just being as light on your right foot as you possibly can. But I tell you what, it's lovely, lovely to drive. So across the border we go, and around 70 miles into the journey, we arrive at the Oswestry fast charger. Right, we are charging. Not entirely sure how this thing works. Seems a bit on the slow side to me for a supercharger. Right then, it tells me that it needs an hour to charge. It shouldn't really take that long, but I'm going to go for a cup of coffee. And see what happens in half an hour or so. Right, we're on 94%. It's been charging over 45 minutes. fed up of waiting now, really. I've had a coffee and everything, no problem at all, but I'm not sure this machine is throwing out as much energy as it says it is. But on 94%, okay, we've had to come further, so, you know, in order to find this charge point, so that's more miles, but I think we'd better get going. I'm going to unplug and chance it that it's going to make the journey down to Cardiff. The rest of the journey, well, it's pretty straightforward. Actually, it's great. I even take one of my favourite shortcuts south of Builth Wells. It's not quite the Menai Bridge, but it's still lovely. The views bring a smile to my face. The car, well, it's perfectly happy, and there's power to spare when we make it to Cardiff. And that's it, we have made it. We are in Cardiff Bay, and it's been a real pleasure, I must say. 20 miles left of range. You wouldn't let your petrol or diesel go down to 20 miles, I suppose, but it works with this. You know how far you've got to go. You know how much juice you've got in the car still. So yeah, it's been a real pleasure, and something, I don't know, really healthy about knowing you've got to squeeze every ounce of energy out of the car. You can't be frivolous just knowing there's somewhere to get some petrol or diesel just down the road. You've got to make every ounce of energy count. It's been a great experience today. Weather's helped. Now just a small matter of getting back home to Anglesey. Of course, I'm not going to miss an opportunity to raise this issue in the Assembly itself.
Ddoe o fetholaeth o Ynys Môn lawr I Gaerdydd mewn car o'r unfed ganrif ar hugain, sef car trydan, Renault Zoe. Yn anffodus, mae is-adeiledd gwefru trydan Cymru yn dod o'r ganrif ddiwetha, ddudwn ni. Fethys I ar un syth lawr a gorfod dod drwy Loegr mwyn gallu gwefru. Dydy hynny'n amlwg ddim yn dderbyniol erbyn hyn. Mae Plaid Cymru wedi llwyddo I gael 2 filiwn o bunna allan o'r Llywodraeth drwy'r gyllideb I weithio ar gynllun I ehangu pwyntiau gwefru a gai ddiweddariad gan y Llywodraeth ar sut mae hynny'n cael ei wario a sut mae am olygu yn bod ni yn fuan iawn am gael pwyntiau gwefru yn rhywle rhwng Ynys Môn a Caerdydd.
Yes, and the member makes an excellent point, and it's one that the government fully supports. I'm very pleased that we've got the arrangement in place, and we'll certainly speak to the Cabinet Secretary about where we are with the update. I too would love to have an electric vehicle that I take longer journeys in, and I'm sure a large number of us share that ambition. So it's something that we all share the ambition for, and I will certainly speak to my Cabinet Secretary colleague about exactly where we are in that.
It's an early start, 2 days later, as we leave Cardiff and head not home, but to Manchester, where I'm taking part in a health conference. The car has been fully charged in the Assembly car park, it's ready to go, but motorway driving does drain the battery a bit more, so we have 2 pleasant 25-minute stops for charges at service stations. Time for a coffee and a few phone calls. We get to Manchester, comfortably enough, but hit a pretty fundamental problem. Well, this is interesting. Just finished speaking at the conference that I've been at. The car should have been charging for the past 2 hours whilst I was in there, but the 10 charging points in the 2 car parks near here that this should have been plugged into were fully occupied. Again, going to prove that what I'm saying is that the infrastructure isn't up to the job. The car's okay, the infrastructure isn't. Even here in Manchester, yes, they've got the charge points, but people are buying more cars than it can cope with. You know, demand is outstripping supply. It's got to be sorted. I'll have to find somewhere to charge on the way home now. So it's a rather nervous drive. 35 miles to a fast charger near Chester with just 40 miles worth of power showing on the meter. But some careful driving in full eco mode gets us there with 14 miles to spare to top up for the drive home. And here we are back at the garage in Llandudno Junction, and I've really enjoyed the past few days. I've come to a number of conclusions. The car is there. You know, the vehicle manufacturers are giving us cars that are ready for an electric future, but there's such a long way to go in terms of infrastructure. Get one of these now if you're looking for a vehicle for local journeys. But we have to have the incentive to be able to buy electric for all our journeys. Now, governments can wait for enough people to buy electric vehicles and then put the investment in. in the infrastructure, but that just doesn't make sense. Government has to invest now in charging infrastructure in order to urge people to join the electric revolution. I really enjoyed a few days of driving the future.